here on the 16th of November, 2021. And we're having a pretty nice morning. With this haze over, it's not too hot. The sun's not cooking too much. It's kind of nice. But saw something in the news. Don't know if it's true yet or not, but they said Soros passed away. Anybody hears anything about it, let me know. But that was just something I saw this morning. I also saw on there the president here talked about he wants to get rid of the face shields. And just from what I've seen since I've been here, anything he wanted to get done, he just did it. Boom, it's done. So why is he saying he's trying? That's just my question. It's just like with this end run that they have around with this Jabba the Hutt. They're gonna force you into complying. See, they can't. I don't think they can make it anywhere mandatory. But if you don't do it, you can't go to the store, can't leave your house, can't do all kinds of stuff. They're doing an end run around this to get everyone to take it, and it's just I'm not getting it. But there's a lot of information coming out about this graphene, the oxidizer. They're talking about this. I'm seeing it even in capsules that they, for any kind of regular medicines, they're finding it in there. There's stuff on Telegram that shows it. Morning. And then another thing is with these constant mask things where they make you wear this thing to cut your oxygen down. I'm telling you, to me, I still think if it was such a danger, what they're saying is such a danger to all of us, is why are there no biohazard waste bins for these dang things? You see them all over the place, on the ground, all over. But to me, I wouldn't. You don't want to keep using something like that because they get filthy. Any place that there's just moisture sitting on a cloth is going to get funky. You look at your dish rag. Take a dish rag, leave it wet, and leave it sitting somewhere. It's going to get funky. I can smell them. They get stinky real quick. So, all this stuff. If you have to just look at it critically and just say, what the heck's going on? Now I seen in the news here, it's being flooded with all the things that cause heart attacks in youth. They're saying this is causing it. They're saying that cannabis now is could it be? Sure, but they're going to flood the news with that so that you don't think nothing about young people having these heart problems, so that you look away from the Jabba the Hutt. Pretty soon what are they going to do? They're going to say, Christians have heart attacks more than everybody else. This guys are laughing at me. I think I got a feeling it's coming. But who knows? You see a lot of stuff on the news, with all these arrests and this Durham report. I wonder. You see this stuff from this Q, which is a bunch of different people. I don't buy a lot of that stuff. I think it's just misinformation to fool us. That's basically what a lot of that stuff is. And I do believe that this, I have Telegram where I get a lot of news, and I look on that, but hardly anyone can find me. It's like it's being covered. It's, something up with that. There's something up with that Telegram. I think it's a big pile of baloney. I wish there was a better platform where I could speak my mind. I know they got these other ones, Rumble and Odyssey and all these other ones, but for me to get things loaded to this, it's just such a hassle compared to anything up here. Here I just speak what I can, limited amount in quatrains and such, and I can load it no problem. But when I go to the other ones, it's just a royal thing. Every time I go there, they want these passwords. They want all this baloney. Now, I know some other people are having no problems, but the ones who tell me that, you look at their channel, it's not political at all. It's nothing about the jab that I see. That's just people I know. Now, are there other ones out there? Yeah, I've watched some videos. But the funny thing is, on my phone, YouTube is a little icon I can click. But if I want to go to Odyssey, or if I want to go to Rumble or any of these other ones, I got to go punch it in through a browser, because it won't give me any little thing to just put on my phone. So, and now I see Telegram, if you go through Google Play and put it on, you won't get a certain stuff. You know, their one they put on censor stuff. So it's, you know, it's all a bunch of crap is what I'm seeing. I don't like the way things are going. There's not much we can do about it. But guys, you know, especially you young guys that have families, your job is to protect your children. And you know, I saw one report that said, oh yeah, there's adverse effects in only 1 in 1,000. That's what they're saying anyway. Okay, well, I wouldn't take that gamble with my kids. Wouldn't take that gamble with myself. It's ridiculous. That's not good odds, guys, that something terrible can happen. And then you got Fauci on there. He said, oh yeah, we found that there's problems with it, so you better take another one. Guys, are you hearing this yet? And they keep letting this guy spout this, and then what does he do? They had Salty Cracker on there on the news saying that, you know, they're going so against him, you know, that the crazy fringe is going against him. Well, I don't think so. I think a lot of folks are starting to wake up. But if you ask me, these people that are pushing all this stuff, people say, oh, we got to get the people at the top. We got to go after people at the top. Well, guys, I'm telling you what, they are so insulated from the people at the bottom. And in your little area, that's where you need to go. That's where you need to go. I don't believe that anywhere votes pretty much count anymore. I don't. I think it's all you're being played. I don't think that you can put in a vote. You look at here. Everybody I talk to loves Manny. This country, whenever he fights, or when he did used to fight, there's no crime in this country. Everybody, even the crazy ones down in Mindanao, everybody, it's just no crime that day. Everybody's glued to the set. But they won't put a lot of news on it. They're doing everything they can to keep him from running. They're showing polls that he's way down. But when you talk to people on the street, what do you say? Oh yeah, that's the guy. And they show all these poll numbers, so you figure, oh, what the heck? Why would I throw my vote away on him? You know, it's just what I'm seeing. That's just what I'm seeing here. But you know, I think the chicken's in the pot already, you might say. There's not much can be done. I don't know what's going to happen here in the future. But that what the president here said the other day just seemed odd and not right from his history, you know. So that's the way it goes. And he's a strong man. There's no doubt. I know down in Davao City, he run that city, and there's, compared to here, that place is night and day. Now, when I was down there was a bombing far off from us, I guess in one of them Abu strongholds or something like that, at a mall where they blew the end of the thing up. But you go into Davao City, where he says his home is, you see girls walking the streets 2 o'clock in the morning, young girls. They're not worried about anything. And the other thing I thought was cool, they have these cops they have like the battleship checked gray and black coverall type things they wear, and they'll be standing in a little side area. You don't see them. If you're across, you look over, you don't see them. But when you walk over on that side and then you look in, wow, there's 6 of them. You know, you don't mess around down there. That is one place I would recommend you, if you're going to come here and do something nefarious, you don't ever do it down there. Now, see, he's got that, and that's the way it was when I was there. But I don't know. I just look at all this stuff that's going on around the world, and I still can't believe so many people want it, and you get a lot of these guys that push the Jabba. There was just one big doctor, I can't remember his name. He was pushing it. He got his second one from the, Star Trek Enterprise phaser, and he's gone. Good morning. There's a puppy doggy. Hi, puppy doggy. But and it's happening to a lot. There's the Convid VA, XX, and it's an injury site that you can get on Telegram. You can just go to that, and they just show just people writing in saying what's happening to them. And I get between 50 and 100 a day that pop up on there. I show it to my wife and some of the other people. Now I don't see here. Some people are getting sick, but when are they going to come out and say, okay, now you got to get another one, and then another one, and another one? I did see one report that said it decreases your immune response by 50%, the first one, so that you'll be susceptible to this stuff now. Some places are reporting that the biggest percentage of the people in the hospitals now already got it. So, you gotta start looking at this critically and saying, wait, use your own head. The media, guys, I haven't trusted them for years, and I don't even care if you watch Fox News. I don't trust some of their crap on the election when they were calling stuff way early before anything was done. I wasn't buying that. They cover up the fact of all these audits that are going on. They're not really putting a lot out about that, but there's stuff happening there. Will they squash it? Yeah, because they're in power now, and they control the media. So they're going to tell people and fill their heads with stuff. There was some Russian dude a long time ago said if you bombard people with this information for 2 straight months and put fear into them, after that there's nothing you can do to change their mind. They'll just buy into it. That was a Soviet study. So it's a shame. Some people are caught into this. It's a royal shame, and we're living in some serious times, guys. This is interesting. They always said, "May you live in interesting times," and I think we're living in the most interesting. And kind of sad how some people are, but it's funny how the areas are around here. Some places are super strict, some aren't. Pretty soon, I got a feeling if you don't have a Vax card, you're not getting into any mall or any business or restaurant or anything like that. Not a store. They're just not going to let you in. They're pushing this, and they're getting these people that run these places to go along with it. Minions, and they'll put their jackbooted thugs at the door. Is what they're going to do. And if you're not allowed to use your free will, so they're going to keep coercing you. You don't want to take it, that's fine. You can't eat. So does that tell you they really care? Does that tell you they really care about you? No. And where's the numbers? Where's the numbers on these? I don't see bags of bodies piling up. I don't see it. I do not see that anywhere. You even see a lot of funeral directors. Now they're saying there's a surge in it could be because of the Jabba. I'm saying could be. You know why? But this is just what's going on in this crazy world right now, and I think that the bodies are got to be making a ton of money off of this, or they will in the future. I can foresee, when they shut down things last year, businesses lost money and prices dropped on a lot of places. I saw resorts. One guy paid this huge amount for a resort, a German fella, and then he decided to get out of Dodge, and his resort went for about half of what he paid for it. He wanted out. So that's what they're counting on. And who do you think's going to pick up all this stuff? Then I seen that Roki fella. He can't work for the government anymore because I guess he's running for to be a senator. I thought he was a senator already, but he's running to be a senator. Now you start looking at these elections, and you can pretty much know already who's going to get in. Who's ever toeing the line around the world, that's who's pretty much going to get in. Now they did have that thing in the States where the dude who had no money, no budget for advertisement or anything, he got in. Was that a bone being thrown? Who knows? Who knows? And you look at these, a lot of these Republicans that vote, they're voting with the other guys. They're all in on this together. I still don't trust them. I'd love to see them all get booted out and new ones come in. You know, that's just how it should be. They should not allowed to be in there for their lifetime. You know, get in and get out. Do your public service and get out. You know, it just seems they get in there. They don't have to live under the same laws as we do as citizens. They got their own deal. Their college debt, they don't got to pay that for their kids. Their health care is all different. They should be under the exact same thing we're under, guys. The exact same thing, because then they'll say, oh, wait a minute, we don't want that. You know, they're in the know, but they got their own special deal. I remember when they voted their own pay raise. If I went into my boss and said, you're giving me a pay raise, he'd laughed in my face. But these guys vote their own pay raise in. They don't need that pay raise anyway. They're just shoving that in your face, guys. They're just shoving it in your face that we can do it. Because, you know, come on, most of them are millionaires already. They're making deals. They're making these deals where the average person, he makes a deal that like they make, and they're in jail. Look at Martha Stewart. But these guys, they get away with it constantly. They're making deals with their families that go and do this. You look at Byron, what's his name? Brandon's son. He's a nobody. The guy, wow, that was a just fully charged wasabi battery. So they're pretty much done. I'll probably have to get rid of them. That didn't last very long. But I was talking about Brandon's boy, and you know, not a super bright guy. We know, you know, they got him countless times cracked. He's women doing all this crazy stuff, and he's making these $10 million deals for daddy. You know, you see some of the sites saying, "Oh yeah, they got him done with Gitmo, and yeah, they're ending them all and all this stuff." I don't know, but you also see if you look at Brandon, and you look at a lot of different pictures of him, there's a lot of them where I think it's not the same guy. I really don't. It's just the structure of the head is different. You know, the voice is the same, but it just seems to me there's different ones. I think there's a lot of them like that where they got doubles. You look at what happened with Hillary when she fell going into that van, fainted or whatever, and then they showed that lady later on in the day at the daughter's place. I don't know, guys. This is just me. You take it, think what you want to think, but it didn't look like the same person to me. It just didn't. The way the face was done. You know, look at what Hollywood does to people. You know, with all their makeup and magic they do there. And a lot of the things you see on TV, they can CGI all kinds of stuff. You know, I look at a lot of this stuff on NASA and these different space agencies. That's a big thing that sucks money, big time. And Kennedy was the one that funded that. You know, he was supposed to be the guy breaking the fiat currency, and that didn't happen. You know, they ended him. But who knows what's really real? You know, I'm starting to think a lot of the news that's coming out, they just feed you with so much information. It's information overload. So, you know, that's where we're at with that. But like I said, we're in some serious crazy times. But I do like the motorbike. I actually took my wife this morning just to the guard shack, and we were driving, and I sat real far forward and told her to get up as forward as you can. I was up on the front, and it's definitely a difference. I do believe that with her weight behind the rear axle, it's leveraging too much weight off the front end. When she is on the back, the front end never bottoms out. Whenever I ride that bike by myself, like when I was riding with Wes, the front end bottomed numerous times. When I was at high speed, not so bad, but when we're in local traffic and hitting little bumps, Morning. But it goes ahead and it bottoms real easy. I want to go down to this new motorcycle shop that we looked at in the video and see if they'll take over. I want them to look at it so it's on record that the valves are fine. And I'm going to ask them if they got some better springs for that. Might change the oil. I'd like to get that front end sorted out so when I'm riding it, it doesn't bottom. You know, it's a tricycle bike, and I know when you put a tricycle on there, a lot of weight goes to the front. It doesn't all put it on the back. It does put a lot of weight onto the front end. And I remember when I did my Honda, when they gave it to me, I could hardly even drive it home. I had to lay it out and angle that wheel until it was right. So, but we're looking to get like a trailer for it. I had pictures of that in the past I showed you. Like they got down in Davao. That's what I'd like to have. There'll be 4 wheels, 2 on the motorcycle, 2 on the outside. It'll keep us nice and dry. Plenty of room if we go shopping, grocery shopping or whatever. And that'll be a little bit better vehicle for in here. And with the gearing that we have in it now, man, fantastic. Just anybody who has that bike should consider doing that. And I still was able to cruise on the highway between 70 and 80, which is way more than enough for here, plenty more. And I had extra too if I needed. I had spurts where I hit the gas and I was able to pull up to 90 pretty quickly. It's not like it's a super rocket machine or anything, but it pulled up real quickly. And it would still, probably on level ground, it would still creep up to 100 kilometers per hour, I'm sure of it. But there's really no place here that you're going to use that. You know, and would you want to? Would you want to with all the dogs and all the stuff here? You don't, you know, reaction time. But the brakes on it are just fantastic. I don't care what anyone says with the dual drums on there. Somebody wants to cut these drums down. For what this bike is and what it weighs, the brakes are more than adequate. They're just, I think they're fantastic. There wasn't a lot of brake dust in the back when I had the wheel off. You know, I always like to clean that stuff. I looked it all over real good, and no trouble in there at all. Everything looked good. Nothing looked like it was overheated. Just fantastic. I'll pull the front off too down the road here. I still am thinking of getting a bigger tire like I saw that fella had. That might, you know, that's going to help things out a little bit. But and there's plenty of room for it. But I'm really starting to like this little machine. I mean, I just, that sprocket on there, fantastic. Now also, I wanted to say too, when I put the DID chain on there, the stock chain I took off, pulled the master link, pulled it off. The pins that were holding the links together were very fine. The little tool, if I put it on there, it's pretty small. But the DID chain had a much larger diameter pin that went through to the links. Plus, the other thing I noticed right off the bat, I didn't mention it, but it's so much quieter than the stock chain. That stock chain, you could hear it all the time when I was riding, especially on D-cell. This one here is much more quiet when you're cruising down the road, and I just love it. I just really love the little bike. Anybody comes here thinks that these little 125s and 150s are stupid. You know, I ain't buying it. I had a buddy that would tease the heck out of me, and I was building these little tiny beach bikes, making the frames and stuff. I had a jig set up, and I got these little engines from a place. It was eBay. I was getting them off of eBay. Nice little engines. Put them on the bike. You got to split the little thing, put it in the sprocket, tie it to the spokes, and that's your sprocket for these things. And he got one for his wife, and then he was riding, and he could not believe the power these things had. He was just amazed, and you will be too if you come here. You know, when I first came here, I bought a 135. It's a Baja, but it's labeled as a Kawasaki, and that thing cooked. My wife and I on it when we were down in Mindoro, there's a lot of roads that are just wide open down there, and you can see, it's all farmland, so you can see on either side. There's no dogs or goats or anything running out in front of you. We would cruise at 90 kilometers per hour, so that's 54 miles an hour, something like that. And it was cruise at that, no problem. And did we have more? Yeah, we had a little bit more, but that seemed to be its sweet spot. This one here right now, its sweet spot's between 70 and 80. It'll run at that just fine. It doesn't. I was always one, if you're never going to hurt a motor as long as you got a good load on it. Keep your oil, keep all your maintenance up real good, and even if you're running at higher RPMs, as long as there's a load on it, it's going to be just fine. I was always the firm believer, like on the tachometer, when you're driving it every day, let's say you're going back and forth to work, limit yourself to half of the to the red line. Let's say if your red line's 10,000, keep your bike around 5,000. Now one lung's different. I said this in the video about these little one lungs. They're not providing power just a small percentage of the time through its cycle, the 4-stroke cycle, and that flywheel's helping carry it. So you need to keep these revved up. We've seen guys when I was up at the motorcycle shop with June that would always run them at 2,500, 3,000. Figured they were saving their motor. Those motors were carboned up pretty good. Their oil would get dirty quick. You're hurting that motor by running it at such a low RPM. You need to get these things up, get them up to a decent RPM, and keep them there. And if you're cruising down the road, I would keep mine between 4 and 5. Now I don't have a tack on this, but I can pretty much feel, what the bike's doing. And but if you come here, it's not a bad little bike. You have to do a few things. I'd love to have the only bike I ever had where I just didn't really have to do anything to was that Buell Ulysses. And I still think out of all the bikes I've ever owned, and I've had quite a few, that was the finest machine I was ever on. I remember Lawrence of Arabia talked about his Rogue Superior being the finest bike. I'm sure in his day and time it was. And that's the way I felt about the Buell Ulysses. A lot of people hammer that Harley motor and all that stuff. I didn't buy a big Harley when I first started. I bought that Sportster, and then I had them put the 1200 jugs on it, right there at the dealership. And I was working a long way. I was driving either into LA or I was driving out to Palm Springs. I was just driving long ways with my tools on it. I had done progressive shocks on the back and did the front end. I did a few things to that bike. And then the motor, other than what they did at the dealer, was just stock. I used AMSOIL in it. And the belt was stock. I was always checking things. I had the original brakes on it when I sold it. I put some nice saddlebags on it too, along with my rack that I built. And the rack would just fit right in. I had it set up where I drilled the bracket for the shock mounts so I could just slide that in and tighten her down. Had a little pin to make sure it stayed there. I'd even check it when I was riding, make sure nothing would come loose, but it would rattle if it come loose. Never did. But I put 98,000 miles on that bike, trouble-free. Went through some tires on it. That's for sure. The original tires they went pretty quick. But then I put on the Michelins. And I think at that time, it was the Pilot. And those ones really held up a long time. I think I got 45,000 out of the first set I put on there. And when I sold it, it had Michelin Pilots on it. I think that I bought the Pilot 2 before I sold it, and they were still in great shape. They still looked almost new. And I ran the piss out of that bike. The only thing bad about that machine was it was doing tank slappers big time when I got it, and that was the other thing I did. I made a new yoke for the front end, and I just angled it out a little bit more, kind of like this, and didn't do any measurements or anything. I forget what degrees I put it at, but I just cut the holes for that and made it out of big pieces of billet that I got, machined it down. Had a buddy had a nice machine shop he let me use anytime I wanted, and that fixed that problem. I was thinking if it wouldn't, I was going to get a steering stabilizer and all that kind of stuff, and I did anyway because it looked cool. But that fixed it. It never did it again. So that one, I still think the Harley motors are pretty good. I see the newer ones, they're doing a water cool just on the head to keep them cooler, try to get more power out of them. Because if you look at the Harley and then you look at the Indian, you look at the two motors, and why does the Indian have almost double the power? You know what I mean? So, I don't know. But I still like to get a bigger bike, but you know, I haven't been pulling the trigger on a bigger bike because of the political climate, and you know, getting things shipped out of here is just, who knows, expensive for one thing, and you know, I hope that we can stay without too much trouble. I hope my sweetie doesn't agree to this thing, but you know, I'm concerned about it. I'm not saying don't. I'm just concerned about it myself. That's just me. But I also saw a thing on there. I put it on the Telegraph. Some nurse got on there, and she said now they're putting a code in there for people who don't want it. It's called a Z code, and that goes on your medical record that you're anti, and that's kind of scary too. You know, this is something I know in the States. You don't have to give up your medical records. But I saw a guy going into a restaurant, and they said, no, if you don't have the JABA, you can't come in. And he says, yeah, but I don't have to give up my medical records. And the girl goes, look, I'm just following orders. This is the Pat line guys. They're just following orders. From who? Who gave those people authority? You know, why are they listening? I personally think if I was there, I'd say no. If I was running a restaurant, somebody come in, I'm not going to ask them their medical information. Come on in. I want them to buy my stuff so I can make a living. I don't want to turn anyone away. But they're doing it. They're doing it in some of these. I think it was in California where they did that. But you know, this kind of stuff that's going on, it's just history repeating itself, guys. You know, 80 years ago they pulled the same baloney, and they're doing it again. I feel sorry for the Aussies down there with the stuff that's going on, the Canucks, what's going on there. That Trudeau guy, he bought 10 million more of these vaxes than the population of the country. So what does that tell you? What does that tell you why he did that? Kickbacks, guys. Come on. And he used your money to do it. And don't you think he's getting a nice, pretty penny for that? Of course he is. Come on. They don't do things without a reason. Why would he get 10 million extra? But he's already talking about having, you know, the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. You know, he's already talking that because it's big bucks for him. That's his pay. You think he's living off of what he gets as premier? No. They're making way more than that. That's chump change to them. That is absolutely 100% chump change, and you gotta start realizing that, guys. That's why these people have to get in and get out before they become corrupt. You know, that's just how it's got to be. So that's just my thoughts today, and this is Rick Shaw out.